Y'all need them up for y'all bathroom? Y'all need them up for y'all bathroom?
We have 5 whole minutes.
5 minutes.
5 minutes.
I will be right back. 5 minutes, girl. Good morning.
Good morning. How are you?
I'm good. Sit by you now.
So you moved up here with your...
Yeah, your friend left. She left that day after the last time you were here. She ended up having COVID and they sent her home because she was going home anyway. So
Yeah,
what's the
so
point?
you wanted to come up here just so you
Yeah.
get away?
Yep.
Both of these...
But I won't talk like that.
Both of these puzzles yours?
No. This one is mine. They've been on that one for 5 days. They can't figure out the rest of it. That would have been easy.
Don't talk about the question.
Then you can actually see that I do take notes. You were talking about anger yesterday, honey.
Yeah, we're going to continue that just a little bit. We're going to be talking about other emotions.
Yeah. I wasn't in your TV group towards the end. They had me in the office. So I didn't get to come to like the second half. It was like 10 minutes before your break, and I caught the rest of it.
Oh, that's when all the good stuff was.
I know. It seemed like they was having fun. Is he speaking? That ain't got nothing to do with it. That's pointing at somebody.
Yeah.
Today is Thursday.
But the mother 3 is still.
So if you get your horse here, they probably sleeping.
I need
Dealing with emotion. So we need to have our book. Got 1 minute till group.
Yeah, Miss Shonda needs you. Yeah.
Okay, sorry. She
I
made
know
us
you
go in
was
there.
doing your own thing.
No, she was making us
Oh,
fix our
maybe we
bed.
good. She just did the same thing.
All right. Group is beginning. Couple of real quick things. Housekeeping stuff. We're going to still be on emotions this morning. And you need to have brought your book to class. And get your sign-in sheets. We need to have TAP sign-in sheets and HHSC sign-in sheets. Everybody needs to sign in. Take a good look at your sign-in and make sure that you can read it because I'll tell you a secret.
So this is it.
If you can't read it, guess what? I can't read it either. And if I can't read it, you can't get credit for the group. So please make sure that it is legible. So that we can read it. We're going to begin this morning real quickly. Back in our book. We need to stay in our book.
Came prepared.
So, we're on page 64.
Would you like me to get everybody?
Yes, if they want to come, group has started. So
I told them.
can't hold up. So, on page 64 of your book, there's a couple of more bullets that I want to go over on this, and then we'll pretty much be finished with this assignment. And then what we'll do tomorrow in the book, we're going to go over page 64 and 65 tomorrow to end the week. And so today what I want to do is look at the last two bullets on here real quickly. One of them, the next to the last bullet says we need to identify a role model and examine that person's life for unselfish behavior. Yes, ma'am? 64.
They're starting slowly, but they're coming.
We all do know, of course, that everybody is a role model, right?
Yes. Thank you. I'm sorry.
Okay. We happen to be role models for someone else. If you have children, then you are a role model for those children, right?
Yes.
Can you be a role model for other people?
Yes.
Yeah, we're all role models. But what they're asking us to do is look for someone that we really think is just a high-level person. Do we need to copy that person and do everything that person does?
No.
Why not? They're really good people. They're fantastic role models. Why wouldn't we do everything they do?
Because we're all different.
We are all a little bit different, and we are not supposed to try to completely imitate those people, but we can emulate them. What does that mean? Not imitate. Imitate means I'm going to do everything they do.
Learn from them certain qualities.
I'm going to learn from them. I'm going to take some of the certain qualities that I think they have that I would like to have. So who is your role model?
I feel God.
Who's your role model? Say that again.
God. She said herself.
God is your role model?
My dad.
You're going to fall short.
Well, my parents are.
Your parents are your role model. And look, your parents are your role model. They were your role model. I mean, some of us left from our parents' influence pretty early, but still, at some point from the time you were born until the time you were gone, they were your role model. This is a scary thing because what that does is tell us that we are our children's role model, right?
Yes.
So, we're going to, so if I don't want my kids to what? What's something I do that I don't want my kids to do? Not pay attention in class? Oh, yeah, okay. That's one thing. We want our children to pay.
We don't want them to do drugs.
We don't want our kids to do drugs, do we?
No.
I don't want my kids to do drugs. I don't want my grandkids to do drugs or my great-grandkids to do drugs because I know what drugs will do for your life.
Mm-hmm.
So we already know, we learned, so we don't want our kids to do it. What else? We don't want them to use alcohol, drugs. What was that again?
Sleeping around.
We don't want them to be loose and sleeping around. We don't want them to do stuff like that. We want them to have a good, solid relationship, right?
And a good education.
We do. Now, I don't know about you, but I don't want my kids to smoke cigarettes.
No.
I don't want my kids to smoke cigarettes. I used to smoke 3-4 packs a day back in the day when I was using. But I don't want my kids, and right now I can tell you, I do have one son who smokes. And I'm really sad about that. He didn't get that from me because I quit smoking before he ever got to the place where I was a role model in that. But being their role model, what do we have to do if we don't want our kids to do all of the crazy stuff that we did?
Now, keep it part of them or teach them, or both, actually.
We need to show them.
Yeah.
One of the worst things we've ever come up with as human beings is that little statement that we tell our children, you do as I say do.
Not as I.
Yeah, not like I do. Don't do what I do. Do what I say do. When I was about 14, they put a whole bunch of us poor kids that they knew were going to starve to death and needed a job when we grew up in classes to learn how to be welders. And we had a welding instructor there. It was Head Start, y'all. That's still around.
Yeah.
So we had an instructor there who had the grinder, and he was grinding some of the weld off, and he was grinding that thing, and there were sparks going all over the place. He didn't have any goggles on. He didn't have a face shield on. He didn't have gloves on. He didn't have any of that stuff. He just had to hit that one spot real quick. And he hit that one spot real quick and shot all that fire and stuff out of there. And when he got through with it, he set it down. And he didn't get hurt or anything. But he said, now you can get your eyes shot out by doing this kind of stuff without those goggles and stuff. So y'all do it like I tell you to do it, not like I do it. At that moment in time, I knew the instructor was stupid. Now, I'm 14, but I knew the instructor was stupid because when you tell your kids not to do it, but, to do what you say do and not what you do, what will they do?
Do the opposite.
They will probably do the opposite because they see you doing it. And if they see you as their role model doing it, they're going to do it. And then they're going to use that same terminology on their children. So you're teaching them something, but you're not teaching them something that's going to be good for them going down through their life. So we need to know that's just not a good thing. Find a good role model and try to emulate that role model, like the lady there said. Take the good things, right? Take the good things, and all of your role models are going to have some bad things, and most of us take bad people as our role models nowadays. So who's your role model? I've got one in my mind that I really, really, really highly respect, and I can't get his name to come to my mind. So anybody got a role model?
My dad.
Your dad? Okay.
He welds and stuff too.
He welds and stuff like that. You're a welder? No,
He's
well,
in
you didn't
recovery.
follow after Barry.
He's in recovery though.
Oh, he's in recovery.
My aunt.
Yeah, and here's the thing. How long are we going to stay in recovery?
Forever.
I'm in recovery for the rest of my life, but how long am I going to stay in treatment?
This is the last time.
Well, at some point, we never get through with recovery, but at some point, we should get through with treatment. Say it again.
Your sponsor?
Your sponsor could be a good role model, according. My role model is sober. Never had any of those kind of issues that I know of. Dead now, of course, but can't think of his name. Really wonderful person. Who?
Jesus.
Yeah, Jesus can be your role model, but you're going to fall real short on that.
Yeah.
If that's a great role model. If you do like Jesus, what Jesus tell you to do? Love God first and love your neighbor like you love yourself.
What about a mentor?
What about a mentor? Yeah, your role model your mentor could have some of the things that you would want to have in a role model. Yes, ma'am.
My aunt, she was a bartender for like 15 years, didn't have her shit together or nothing, and now she's the head nurse for a hospital in Colorado. She was the head nurse in one of the Orleans hospitals when COVID hit.
Great.
She turned a whole 360, and she was about my age when she got her shit together. So I'm hoping and stuff together. So
Yeah. And she traded her addiction.
Yeah.
from being addicted to whatever drug she was addicted to
Yeah, to help
work.
people. Yeah, to help people. She's
Work,
a
you know,
guardian.
yeah, is that healthy?
Yeah.
Yes.
A whole lot more healthy than being addicted to drugs or alcohol, but it's still an addiction, and no addiction is healthy. If you workaholics will wind up dying early and killing themselves, you have to have self care. My role model is Martin Luther King.
Ah, nice.
Look at Brother Martin Luther King. He's a preacher. He loved the Lord God. He was courageous. He stand up and stood up for, the things that was right.
Correct.
And,
Yes.
he stood up for the right.
That was
So that's why.
My sisters are a big part of looking growing up. A big part of it.
Who's that?
My sisters.
Your sister?
Yeah, they're older.
Yeah, my sister was too, but she ain't my role model. She dead, and so I can do it now without fear. She was little bitty thing. She used to beat me like a rug, So she was mean. So anyway, we got to come up with a role model. Examine that person's life. What does it say? This is my role model. So I'll have to look into that person's life to find some unselfish behavior in that person's life. Did you know before they shot and killed Brother King there, they had told him not to go. Don't do that. Don't go out there because there's a threat on your life and you're liable. And he went anyway?
He sure did.
Went anyway? Unselfish. Unselfish. Why is that important for us? Remember what we talked about yesterday? Yeah, unselfishness is a great attitude. Most of us don't have that trait. Remember we talked about yesterday narcissism?
Yeah.
What is narcissism? Yeah, I'm in love with me and I ain't too worried about you.
Yep.
It's all about me. So here it is. As an addict, we are pretty selfish people, aren't we? I'm going to use, and I don't care if it destroys you. I don't care if it messes up my children. I don't care if it messes up my life, my job, my spouse. I don't care if it messes up society. I don't care if people die because I'm high. I'm just going to get high, right? So that's pretty selfish, isn't it? So whoever my role model is, I need to find some unselfish behavior in that person. If I'm not going to imitate them about everything they ever do, if they eat grits and gravy for breakfast, I don't have to do that, right? Mm-hmm. But I'm going to look in their life and see if there's some unselfishness about that person. And I will tell you this, if there's no unselfish acts, if you can't find them being selfless, you don't need that person as your role model. And then you need to look real closely into yourself, into myself, to see if I can get that trait going on for me. I need to be an unselfish person. I had a friend of mine. Really wasn't a friend of mine. He was a colleague. Yeah, we worked together. And I went and told him one day. I was just talking to him. I said, "Hey, look, I may be leaving a little bit early on Friday because my wife and I are going to look for a couch." He said, "You need a couch?" I said, "Yeah, my wife and I, we're going to go buy us a new couch. Our couch is about worn out, so we're going to get us a new one." He said, "I have one you can have." I said, "What?" He said, "Yeah, I've got a couch. It's about 3 months old. It's a nice couch. You can have it. Just come to my house, bring your truck, bring your son, and you two can load up that couch." I said, "Well, I'll pay you for the couch." He said, "No." He said, I have to give you that couch because I am a very selfish person in my addiction." So, okay. And he said, "If I don't give you that couch, then I'm not going to be able to work my program the way I need to work my program." Okay, then. I'm going to the man's house. I went over to the guy's house. I pulled up there and put my tailgate down on my truck. My son and I went in. I'm expecting him to have 3 or 4 couches, and he's giving me one. His wife is standing there like this. She don't look all that happy. I go in there and here's this beautiful $3,000 couch. They just bought this thing about 3-4 months ago. We loaded that couch up because I want to help that man. We loaded that couch up and we took it to our house. And he was doing that because he was a selfish person and he knew he was a selfish person and he's doing something. I think he went a little overboard. I'm glad he went a little overboard to my good. But, I think he went a little overboard, but he was practicing what he preached and getting himself to a place where he wasn't selfish. Now, that may not ever work for him, but at least he's doing unselfish acts.
Yeah.
Right? You continue to do unselfish acts. What do they become?
Habit.
Habit. I had a deacon in one of our churches, and I didn't recommend it. But every time somebody would come by and say, hey, I need some money, he would pull $20 out of his pocket and give it to him. I had another boss, Billy Smith, who owns this big old huge company over in Houston and Baytown and all of those things called the Best Group. And any of his employees, I will tell you this, I never did it, but any of his employees that would ask him for gas money, he would give them gas money. Like, you're getting paid, all of that stuff, you got all, you're getting what you get paid, whatever you get paid, but they'd say, look, Mr. Smith, I need some gas money. He'd pull $40, $50, $60 out of it and hand it to him. Practicing being unselfish. So as you practice that, it becomes a habit. And so that's what my colleague was doing. He was beginning to practice that, hoping that it would become a habit. And I'm sure that if he kept at that, it would. Because as you do something, it becomes a habit. Right? Like eating in group. That becomes a habit, right? If you continue to practice it, putting together these things here, that becomes a habit. The last thing I want to look at this real quick. It says identify and plan ways to become less selfish in your personal daily life. I have to work at not being selfish. Yes, ma'am.
I'm sorry to interrupt you, but can you let me know what page we're on?
No, we've already announced the page twice. No, I'm kidding. We're on 60.
I didn't hear it.
We're on 64. 64 for all of you guys over on at South. We're on page 64.
64.
Yeah, and we're about finished. 64 now. It's 64.
It's a 6 and a 4.
A 6 with a 4. So we need to identify. What are we identifying? How can I be unselfish? How can I be unselfish?
By caring more.
By caring more?
By
You'll be
doing
selfish.
unselfish acts.
And that's a really good point. I'm going to identify those things. I'm going to look.
It's her fault.
I'm going to look and see if I can see any unselfish acts in my life. Do you see any unselfish acts in your life?
Yeah, sometimes.
Look, there are some. I mean, look and identify the things that are unselfish that you do in your life and magnify that a bit. And build that up some. We took up an offering at church last Sunday for all of the people who are having problems down in Kerrville and places like that. And we got a bigger offering than I thought possible with that group of people, but it was good. And so we sent that to the county of the Kerr County people so they could do something. That was an unselfish act for people to do. We were at church again last Saturday, and we were working on stage and stuff like that. Fella comes up and cuts the grass. We got about an acre out there that he cut the grass, and then went out and trimmed all of our sago palm trees. Did some good, just because. And so that's unselfish acts. And so you look at those things, and what do I have in my life that's like that? And then Plan ways to become less selfish in your daily life. So one of the ways that I'm becoming less selfish is eating less junk. Because here's the deal. I love to eat junk. I mean, she opened up her drawer over here a while ago. There's a pantry in here. There's all sorts of goodies in that drawer, and all of that all that's poison to me. And if I eat that stuff, I'm gonna die. It's going to kill me. Feet fall off in your hand. You go blind, and y'all know what I'm talking about. I have a friend over on the other side of there that's happened to him, and he knows. And so those things will happen to us. And it's really actually an unselfish act for me not to eat that stuff. That way I can stick around for my wife who has some medical issues that needs me to be here. So she doesn't have to hire somebody to come in and do the things like that. So we need to look for those things, and as we employ those in our lives, they will become a habit after we've done them enough times. How long does it take to create a habit in your life?
Not long at all.
3 days.
About 3 weeks. If you continue doing it, about 3 weeks. How long did it take to break a habit?
3 months.
About 3 months. So it's easier to build a habit than it is to break a habit. So we need to be looking at what we can do to build those good habits and those good traits in our lives, because we can do it. And, we can become the people that we really want to become. Now, we have 3 people up here on the board, and you can't see it all that well at South, I know that, but so let us explain them to you. So who is this person? What's going on with that person?
Lonely.
What is it?
Lonely.
Yeah, that person's lonely. She's over here, look, all by herself. But look, there's other people around. Do you know that you can be lonely in a crowd?
Yes.
Yeah, if you're not engaged with those people over there, if you're not talking to those people, if you're not part of that group, you can be in a group of people and still feel like you're all by yourself. Nobody loves you. Everybody hates you. And you might as well what? Go eat worms. Yeah, we talked about it yesterday a little bit. That is a British lullaby. Nobody loves me, everybody hates me, I might as well go eat worms, little bitty thin ones, big fat juicy ones. They sing that to their children. I don't know why. So if this person is lonely, and we're going to talk a little bit about how to deal with loneliness, because y'all know this week is about our emotion. And loneliness is an emotion. We feel like we are alone. So what is this person?
That's like the mama.
She's scared.
She's scared. Somebody says she's scared.
She's feeling sad emotions for the girl right there.
She's feeling sad because of this girl over here. Okay. Actually, this is anxiety.
Yeah.
And what does she have to be anxious about?
Because she don't know what's going to happen to her.
Yeah. If somebody is having issues with anxiety, they can be anxious about what? Anything. Anything. My wife suffers from high anxiety, and I'm telling you, anything. It doesn't make any difference. She found a little bitty black thing, and she put it in her hand, and she brought it to me the other day and said, "Look!" So, okay, I see that. There's a little black thing laying in your hand. She said, "That is mouse excrement." Now, she's freaked out because there's 2 things that cannot live in her house. That's mice and roaches. If there's a roach in her house, we tear the house down. Yeah, we're going to tear it down, rebuild the thing. Roachless. If there's a mouse, same thing. Tear that house down, rebuild it, mouseless. Because we ain't going to have mice, and we're not going to have, but she'll get all like this because of all that, because she's anxious.
She's my kind of girl.
Now, we can get anxious if we're suffering from anxiety. We can be anxious about anything. So what is this lady here?
Mad. That's a lady.
Point the blame.
Yeah, you don't see. Look, she's wearing pearls.
That's all grumpy like.
So what's her issue?
She's
She's
just
mad
angry.
about
She's angry. What's she angry about?
So she nervous.
She's angry because she's overly nervous about stuff. She's angry because this other girl over here is feeling all lonely and everything. It's all about her and all that kind of crazy. So what does it take to get her angry?
All of it.
Uncomfortability.
Yeah, not much. She get angry. And we talked about anger yesterday ad nauseum, and anger is a choice, right? So these three emotions we're going to just hit on real quickly today. We're going to look at anger just a little bit because we ended up with that yesterday, but we're not going to spend a lot of time on it. The first thing we're going to look back, we're going to go this way and go that way, and we're going to explore loneliness because is it important for us to not get overly lonely when we're in our recovery?
Yes,
Why?
because it can make you want to use again.
Yeah, because it'll help me get to a place that's called,
Isolation.
well, that too.
Unicorn?
When I get isolated all by myself and all of that stuff, I can very easily become a victim. And what does a victim do?
Is innocent.
A victim is, poor me, poor me.
Follow me.
Pour me another drink. Yeah. A victim gets to that place where, look, nobody loves me, everybody hates me, I might as well go you. If I'm going to feel this way, if I'm going to feel this bad sober, I might as well get high. We'll get into that victim stance and we can talk ourselves into doing whatever we want to do. And let me share this with you. When we get out of treatment, there's going to be a certain percentage of us in both groups who are going to get into that victim stance as soon as we get out there. We're going to get out there, we're going to go back to wherever we were, and somebody's going to say, well, why don't you get a job? Well, I'm looking. Well, you ain't looking hard enough and you'd have had one. And all of a sudden, we're sitting in the back room by ourselves. Nobody loves us. Everybody hates us. We feel like when we go and they call us to eat, we feel like they watch every bite we take. You ain't bringing nothing in, but you're taking everything you can out, right? Been there? Yeah, I've been there. Yeah, you're eating, you like my papa dad would tell me, you eating my food now, boy. Okay, that'll make you get in the victim stance, won't it? That'll make you feel real lonely. People don't love you all that much. But here's what we have to do. We need to explore the loneliness, see what on earth we can do about it. Is it, first off, is it important that everybody in the world loves you?
No.
Oh, well, that's a good thing. Everybody said no. Why is it important that nobody, not nobody, but why is it important that not everybody's going to love you?
Because not everybody's going to be able to please you.
Well, yeah, that too. She said not everybody's going to please you. That's a good point. But look,
That's not the
They might not
responsibility.
have.
yeah, not everybody's going to see all your good side. Not everybody's going to see all your good qualities. Not everybody. Look, there's 8 billion people on. Not everybody on this planet's going to care too much for you. Yeah, there's people. I meet I meet a lot of people, and of those people, most of them are pretty jovial. Most of them like me pretty well, but I have run into people who just met me and don't like me. Just met me. Look. How come you met me 3 minutes ago and you don't like me? You just okay. You know what you think of me. That's your business, right? And what I think of you, that's my business. So you just think whatever you want to think, but you're never going to be able to have everybody you run upon just think you're the cat's meow.
All right.
They're just not. And so I don't need to get all upset about that. I've had people tell me, well, I just don't like you. Well, okay then. I
like
didn't. Good. Yeah.
I feel sleep tonight.
Yeah. I'm gonna be okay with that. I'm gonna be all right with that, and I'm not gonna waste any more of my time on you. I'm gonna go see somebody else. So here's some things. Everybody, this is what we need to understand. These things are just like every other feeling in the world. Everybody gets lonely every now and then. You know, when you're sitting there and you start thinking about your old friends, and some people, their children are not at home, and you start thinking about this stuff, and sometimes you're going to get a little bit lonely, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's okay, isn't it? That's all right for you to get a little bit lonely, as long as you don't just delve off into it and stay there for the rest of your life. Sometimes we get a little lonely. Could be due to all sorts of things. Due to a big loss, somebody died in your family, somebody died in your circle of friends. I've had that just happen here lately. And, you know, I sat down the other day and just thought about that individual, which is something to do when you I'm a grief counselor as well, and that's something to do. You think about that person, you think about the good parts of that person, and then you have to let that go.
Yes.
You know, because that person's gone. You know, you have to let that go. So it could be a big loss. It could be a major change in your life. You get married, you get divorced, you have new children coming on the scene, you have a new job, you lose your job. Something less obvious you can't quite put your finger on. So you're lonely just because. Have you ever seen anybody crying just because? I've talked to people and they'd be crying just because. Made it 30 minutes in group. That's a good thing. And now since she left, I feel kind of lonely. So when we look, there's not a time when we feel lonely. Sometimes people tell me that they feel lonely or feel left out on rainy days. Well, around here they would be in real bad shape, wouldn't they? Yeah, they'd be lonely around here lately. So what's the opposite of feeling lonely?
Feeling overwhelmed. Depressed.
The opposite, you said, right?
Yeah, what's the opposite of feeling lonely?
Wants it? That's good.
Somebody said not lonely. Yeah, that's the opposite. You know, being accepted would be something. Being a part of something. Yeah, you know, being welcome. Yeah, being included. Yeah, those things will keep me from being lonely. Do you know, however, that when I am lonely and I am putting that out, that's and as counselors we call it the affect. That's the way I present myself to the world. If my affect is showing people that I'm lonely, that's actually puts people off, and they won't want to include me because they don't want that negativity in their circle. So I need to sometimes pick myself up a little bit so that I can get into one of those circles. You can feel lonely even if you're in the company of other people. Just being around people, being with people, does not necessarily guarantee that you're not going to be lonely. So what do you have to do? Engage. Go into that group planning to be a part of whatever the heck they're doing. You know, whatever's going. If they're bowling, go be a bowler, right? If they're sewing, go be a sewer. Do whatever they're doing, unless, of course, they're breaking into liquor stores. Don't do that. You know, do the good thing. So look, the opposite's also true. You can be perfectly content sometimes when you're by yourself.
Yes.
When you are alone. The fact that you are alone for a period of time does not translate into you being lonely. Sometimes it's good to be alone. I have several offices, but I have a home office, and that's my alone place. You know, that's got my stuff in it. Everything in there belongs to me as long as my wife doesn't want it. You know, so when I want to be alone, I go in there and I work on my computer in there and I listen to my music in there and I read my books in there. And, you know, that's my spot. Now, I don't go in there and stay for 3 days. I'm going to go in there and stay an hour, hour and a half, something like that, and then I'm going to come back out because that, being alone for a moment, being by myself for a moment is a good thing. We need some alone time for me, right? But I don't need to get to the place where I'm having alone time 8 to 12 hours a day, every day, right? That's not alone time, right? That's isolation, like somebody already said back there. Said, all right, we can be perfectly content both ways. So those experiences, though, are different, right? They're polar opposites to one another. We can be lonely in a crowd, or we can be content by ourselves. What we want to do is find a place where we are content in both of those situations. I want to be in a place where if I'm with a crowd of people, I want to, as this young lady said earlier, I want to be engaged in whatever's going on there. If I don't become engaged in that situation, I'm not going to, I'm not going to be having any input. They're not going to input into my life, and before you know it, I'm a lonely person. And the big deal, and we've already talked about it, but the big deal about being a lonely person is that it lets me get to that place of victimhood, and the victim helps me get to a place of using. Right? So I'm sad and I'm mad and all of that kind of stuff, and I'll use because I want to. So here's the deal. Loneliness is on the rise around the world. Why do you think that is? Loneliness, it's being reported more and more and more around the world. What do you think's behind the increase in loneliness? Anybody got an idea?
Drugs,
No,
alcohol,
COVID.
Say that again?
COVID.
COVID. Oh, yeah, that's a good idea. COVID, drugs and alcohol use. We were forced to be isolated and, all of that kind of stuff or all of that stuff. And so a lot of people found this loneliness coming up in their lives in a preeminent type of situation. And that's just not good. And so, drugs and alcohol will also do that. It isolates you from who?
Everybody.
Isolates you from pretty much anybody. After a period of time, look, you're the life of the party, you're fun, you're all of that kind of stuff. But after a while, you're a drain. You're no longer any fun. You're just hard to have around. Nobody wants you at their party. No, I had friends back in the day that would have parties and would not invite me because they didn't want what I would be bringing to the party, which was myself. And that can make you a little bit, you get wind of all that stuff, and so that kind of messes you up. So everyone experienced loneliness. We already said that. But everybody experiences loneliness differently. You know that somebody's. Say it again.
You can feel alone in a crowded room.
Yeah. Oh, well, yeah, we just went over that. Yeah. But you were having a conversation. Yes, you weren't with me. But you're right. You're exactly right that people in a crowded room or in a crowd of people can be lonely. But everyone experiences it differently. Some people can go through loneliness, be lonely, all of that stuff, and then after a day or two or an hour or two, work themselves out of it and go on and be okay. Other people commit suicide. Mm-hmm. Other people, don't deal with it at all, and they die from it. So we experience it differently. It can be long-lasting, or it can be just a brief little bit of time. And I know that everybody in here, being human beings, we've all experienced a little bit of loneliness, right? Mm-hmm. Well, you do. I just, I want, if I'm going to be lonely, I want it to be brief. I don't want to be lonely a long time. But sometimes I've got a big old front porch, and sometimes I'll just go sit on my front porch and listen to the birds sing. I'm going to do something to get myself out of the funk, right? I don't want to be there long because the funk wants to take me back to a place where I don't want to go. and I'm not willing to go there. So I've got to get myself out of it. I got to call somebody, go visit somebody, watch a good movie. I got to do something. I can't stay there. It can involve deep sadness, longing, worry, irritability, and or any number of other feelings. A lot of times it can involve anger, it can involve fear, all sorts of things. You know, when I'm feeling like that, one of the things that tells me is that this will last forever. I'm going to be in this bad state for the rest of my life. Is that true?
No.
Of course not. Of course not. Yeah, you know, unless we just want it to be that way, and then we can cause it to be that way, but it's not going to be there forever. So loneliness is going to bring in all of these other feelings, and so we don't want to have those feelings in our lives, right? Why not? I mean, they're feelings. We're gonna have them from time to time, but why don't we want to experience them a whole lot?
Because they make you depressed.
So it can do what?
Depressed.
It can get you to a place of depression, and what eventually happens?
You might be trying to take your life.
You may want to take your life. You may want to kill yourself, or you may more than likely what?
Relapse.
Relapse. Yeah. Well, you know, this junk. I don't want to be all that. Look, I'm going to experience some loneliness. The moment I start experiencing loneliness, I need to start doing some things. And we're going to talk about a couple of things, but there's some things that I can do to help me get beyond loneliness. And I need to do that because I don't want to stay there, because it'll take me to the victim stance, which will take me to relapse. Loneliness is often seen in a negative light, right? When you think about being lonely, you don't really think about positive things, do you?
No.
No, we don't really think about it as being positive. We're always looking at loneliness as being negative. And I think of lonely. I don't want to be lonely. Do you? I don't want to be lonely. You all right? It looks like you're having some kind of episode. You okay?
Me?
Oh, this lady.
I'm cautious.
Oh, cautious. Okay, I understand. I see that. And that's a good point too. When you're lonely, you need to be cautious in that period of time, right? You do? Because when I'm lonely, I may wind up doing things that I wouldn't normally do. Yeah. And that's we got to watch that kind of stuff. Loneliness is often seen in a negative light, but some argue that loneliness can be an opportunity for self-discovery. That makes sense? That makes sense?
Yeah.
Loneliness can be an opportunity for self-discovery. I can sit around and just get inside of myself and figure out what's going on with me and what's happening and all of that kind of stuff. And, you know, if I'm lonely, I want to make a positive situation. I want to get something good out of any kind of thing bad that comes into my life. I want to be able to turn that around, make it work for something good. But it's hard for me to do that with loneliness. So, but we could do that. Maybe it's a helpful reminder of the importance of the human connection.
Oh, yeah.
We need to be connected to others. We are social animals.
Oh, yeah.
We need to be. That's why we have so many bad relationships. We panic. Nobody is fawning over me right now. No one is at my door saying, "Hi, can you come out and play?" Nobody's doing those things, so I get into a panic. So when I stumble over somebody, that's at the just about at the bottom of their experiences, I just rescue them and take them home.
No, not anymore.
That's not a really good idea, is it? I need to be looking for some kind of positive relationship, not a negative. I don't need to rescue somebody. I don't need to look for somebody that's going to rescue me. I need to look for somebody that has the same amount of input that I do. I need to be positive. in the relationship, they need to be positive as well. So, we need to have a relationship that's a relationship, a one-on-one relationship, not a doctor-patient relationship. So, it can be seen in that. It can do that. Loneliness has it may have some potential benefits, but you have to look real hard to find those benefits. But if we're in the midst of something like that, then it is advantageous for us to look for and find something that can be beneficial for us. All right, so whether social media makes you lonely,
Oh, yeah.
comes down to how you use it,
And what you see.
what you see. It's so amazing to me. You go on Facebook, and I don't know who told people that it's a good idea to show the whole world a plate of food that you bought at the restaurant. Look what I'm eating today. Okay. And folks, and I don't know if y'all do this or not, but please don't. All those selfies where you put your face in the picture. I have a friend, and he's a good friend of mine. He's a good man, but he does that all the time. He'll say, "Look, here's a picture of my daughter's birthday," and his whole face, way back behind him, you can see his daughter. And maybe, a little bit of the birthday cake, but you see Chuck's whole head. Yeah, look, that kind of person, if that's the one that you're trying to get, that person is more interested in who?
Chuck.
Them. Chuck interested in Chuck. He ain't interested in BB. He interested in Chuck. Yeah, and every page he's got, he's trying to sell a motorcycle right now. Don't know what the motorcycle looks like, but Chuck we know. It's just Chuck. Yeah, so social media, don't do it the right way. If it's according to how you're going to use it. I had a fellow not too long ago tell me that he was in love, and I said, I think that's magnificent. I've been in love for many years, and hope to be in love for many more. He said, yeah. I said, well, where'd you meet her? He said, online. And I said, okay. Okay, that's terrible. That's not a good thing. So whether you use social media, it comes down to example, comparing yourself to others might make you a little bit lonelier, right? Yes, ma'am. Just make, comparing yourself. Should you compare yourself to other people?
No.
No.
No. Well, we just.
A lot of it's like it is a habit,
Well, we just talked about getting a good role model, looking and seeing some of the selfless things they did.
Yeah.
Maybe I should compare myself. If I compare myself to Brother Martin Luther King, guess what?
Mm-hmm.
I come out way short, right? I mean, I come out way short. I'm never going to be. Look, I can tell myself I'm never going to be the man that he was, right? But I can still emulate some of the things he does. I make it a point to stand up for what I think is right. And, you look at Martin Luther King, that's one of the biggest things he do. Stand up for what is right. I will stand up for what is right. Brother Martin Luther King, they told him not to go up there. He went up there. That's courageous, isn't it?
Yeah.
I ain't ever going to have that kind of courage, because if the policeman says, look, Doc, don't stand over there, they're going to shoot you, I ain't going to stand over there. Not going to do that. I'm not going to accept that part. So while connecting with good friends may make you less lonely, when you're comparing yourself to other people, then you may have an issue that could make you more lonely, because you're not building up to those people. You're not measuring up to those people. However, if your good friends are on there and they're loving on you and all of that stuff, it could make you less lonely, right? Okay.
I'm sorry.
So how you use it, that's going to make a big difference in how it's going to affect you with loneliness and all of that stuff. Now here's another. This is a big deal. This is probably more important than all the rest of it together. The way you think about loneliness. The way you think about loneliness. That affects how it makes you feel. You know, if loneliness is not a big deal for me, if loneliness doesn't bother me all that much, it's not going to be a big deal for me ever, right? But if I think that since I'm lonely, since nobody is loving on me right now the way that I think that they should, then that's a horrible, terrible, nasty thing in my life, and I'm going to fall apart because of it. Then that's where I'm going. Remember what we talked about our belief system? Our belief system drives our thinking, drives our action. So if my belief system says it's not okay for me to ever be alone, it's not okay for me ever to be lonely, then when I'm lonely, when something happens that I feel loneliness a little bit, then my belief system is going to drive my thinking and tell me this is not right, this is terrible, this is horrible, I can't live like this, right? And that's going to drive my action.
It can be terrifying sometimes.
Say it again?
It can be a big, like, fear-wise.
Well, sure.
Terrifying.
Sure, it can be terror-inducing. You know, we'll get to that place where, look, like we said, we are social animals. We have to have other people in our lives. That's actually one of Maslow's 5 hierarchy of needs. We need to have love and belonging in our lives.
I think nowadays a lot of children out there are more into media and their phones and tablets than they should be.
Well, they should be, and that's the parents' fault.
They need more outside work.
A kid will always grab at something shiny and something they can play with and all of that. And I see 7, 8-year-old kids, and that's all they're doing. We went to the restaurant not too long ago, and there were 4 or 5 people sitting around the table, and every one of them had their phone. Okay, and the parents are over there, but they're on their phone too. So you know, so social media is powerful. You do know that many people have committed suicide because of what was said about them on social
I was just gonna say.
Ma'am?
I was just gonna say that while you doing that and the child over there on their phone, they could be looking at something that could make them.
It can be addicting.
It is addictive. It's
That's why they take
addictive.
our phones from us when we come in.
Yeah.
So we had phones for family time. Put your phone down and engage with your family.
I think that's a fantastic deal that you come in here and you don't have those phones.
Yes.
And suddenly you have to interact with other people.
You gotta
You got to focus on other things. Wow. You know, I think that's a great thing. So, if you think about loneliness affects you, how it makes you feel. If you see loneliness as proof of you being a flawed individual, a flawed human being, that will make you feel awful. You feel horrible. Nobody loves me. Everybody hates me. I might as well go eat one. Right? Right? And we just get to feeling real. Why do you think people would kill themselves because of something some person that they may or may not even know says about them on Facebook?
Well, because
Why would we go there? Look.
Better time for that.
Like I said, it's not any of your business what I think about you, and it's not any of my business what you think about me. And so whatever you think about me, I don't care.
They could be having those things told to them at home.
Yeah, they could have. Yeah, they could have all kind of crazy, bad, you're no good, you'll never be anything. They can have all of that kind of stuff happening at home. And so they're already in that lonely place, and then some kid from school or somebody else does it on social media, and thousands of people see all of that, and then, lots and lots of people. So, look, we can't really control what other people do, right? But we can control what we do. If we're guilty of that, if we've done something like, stop it. We don't need to do that. So, common advice that to people who feel lonely is to make friends. That makes sense? Yeah. That's common advice. That can kind of be hard to do. Especially if you're already feeling lonely, you're feeling less than, you're feeling like you're outside of all of it. You're not.
Like you don't fit in.
You don't fit in. That's a good way to say it. You don't fit in, and what was that?
I'm not a part of something.
Yeah, and you're not a part of something. You don't fit in. All of that kind of stuff. It's kind of hard to do. So it's a real easy thing for people to tell us to do, but then it's hard for us to do that. So, why is that so?
Because you don't like yourself.
Say it again?
You don't like yourself.
Hey, that's a good point. If you don't like yourself, how can you present yourself to somebody else hoping they'll like you?
You don't know
that. Yeah. That's a really good point. So what are you going to do if you're feeling lonely and you're having a hard time making friends? Yes, ma'am?
Some people try to just please other people so they will be accepted in that.
Yeah. Yeah, we're going to go and appease those people and try to be accepted in their clique. I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to do that.
Just go work on yourself.
Say it again.
Just don't even let them bother you. Just go.
Just don't let it bother you. But that's hard. That's hard to do.
Mm-hmm.
One of the things that we can do is find something we can do.
Yes.
What does that mean?
You got to learn about yourself.
You
What
should
you like, what you
yeah.
don't
Find something
like.
you're good at.
Go at.
Yeah, learn what you like, what you don't like, then go do what. If you like we talked about this yesterday or the day before. If you like playing baseball, guess what?
Go play
You're
baseball.
not going to play basketball.
There's a lot of people out there that like playing baseball. Go play some baseball. You don't have to go looking for people. Go looking for something. Go play baseball. Go bowling. Go do something. And look, every one of those sports, guess what? There's other people there doing that, right? I used to do a lot of bowling back when I was in Germany, and there, because there just wasn't much to do, but we had a on-post bowling alley, so we go bowling. And the one thing that I noticed, there were a ton of people there. There's a lot of people there. So if you go where people are and you do the things that people do,
It won't be
It's going to be a pattern for you too.
yeah, and you're liable to run into somebody that don't think you're lowering a snake's belly in a wagon run, right? They might think hey, you're not the ugliest person in town. That person lives, I know that person, and you're not that person, so, you're not the meanest person. Before you know it, you might make, what?
Friends.
Friends. And if you make a friend,
or two.
And if you make a friend, then guess what?
Make their friends with their friends.
Oh, then all of their friends,
anymore.
you're friends by extension and all of that kind of stuff. Get up on Sunday morning, go to church.
Mm-hmm.
There's a lot of churchy people,
Yeah.
and if you're really feeling down and out, go to if you go to the church, you're gonna have 5 or 6 people just love on you for 10 minutes. That's their job. Yeah, that's what they do. They're the church greeter. So they're going to love on you, but still you're getting loved on. And, there's going to be people there that's going to reach out to you and do all of those kinds of things. And so there are all sorts of people, all sorts of places doing all sorts of things that if you go get involved in some of those, you will necessarily have to be involved with some of those people, right? So that's loneliness. And we're talking about loneliness because this is one of those emotions that are liable to hit us when we get out of here. Now, not for any other reason than we're sober. Yeah, I want to tell you this. I had a whole bunch of friends when I was drinking. I got sober. None of them wanted to hang around me anymore.
I never do.
Yeah, and they'd come over and say, hey, man, let's go. We're going to go. And I said, well, you know what? I don't drink anymore. What?
See you later.
Yeah, and suddenly, well, look, I'll get back with you, man. All right, then. That's 30 years ago. I ain't never heard of that.
I was going to say, you said not necessarily about sober, but being on. For me, it'd be, because I don't have my kids, my son right now, that's easily.
Yeah. And and I've talked to several ladies who, they're it's all about the children and the children. Here's the deal. Getting sober is the first step. Getting into a life of recovery is the first step in putting that family back together. I understand that. I have two sisters I've never met, and they're twins, Linda and Glenda. Never met them. CPS been around since I was a kid, and they came and got 4 of my sisters out of the house. Left him. So, yeah, I do understand that. Well, that's what? That's loneliness.
But I got my eye on the prize.
We're gonna take our break. Be back about 15 minutes after, and then we're going to look at anxiety and then just a little bit on anger again. So thank you for the first.
They got a song out about anxiety now. You heard that song? You heard that song that plays on the radio about anxiety? Anxiety.
No, I don't think I heard that.
Doja Cat.
You should have sang that part.
If I sing it, then the whole back row back there gonna pop in, and you ain't gonna get them to stop.
Come on. That's what we do it all. Move the line, move the line.
Right? That's what I'm like, whoa. Move it on down.
And then talk.
Thank you.
It's cold and I need a jacket. Why you gave me your jacket? I
For
got my
me?
jacket back. No, I got my jacket back.
The green one? You washed it?
Like, yeah, I ain't wash it yet.
Wash it, I need it.
Well, she gonna tell me I need to move the tape, move my chip, or move the tape. Because ain't nobody tell you to keep right here. I was already right here. What you thought? I said, I'm not moving nothing. Shit. That's my fault. You put yourself in this small ass purse. My stuff's on the table.
And you said baby shit for every damn thing. You need a home. Bitch, yes, in my mind. Like every goddamn thing.
Like, I want some cakes. Now you want cakes, bitch? No, I want damn cakes. I want some cakes and some candy. And you want cakes? You gotta break this down. I'm going with you. But the money I gotta get her some house stuff. For baby girl. And she wanted me to use my card. Yeah, she wanted me to use the phone. Chester, no. I might Chester them next week and I use my phone. Like, yeah, I don't have a debit card, so y'all can't stop me from not getting my baby no shit. And then she only doing it because they got all that shit last night. No, because Granny got all that. No, they got all that. No, just like every motherfucking one. What you mean all? Everybody, somebody always gonna tell me. No, it's because I see you walking around. No, it's because she got all that stuff last night. And it was up in the bubble in the closet. And she had got all them sodas, like 3 cases of soda. And it was in the bubble. And she was like, I guess they told her they want to order it. And she was like, well, all that ordering stuff is out the door. Yeah, she was. I was like, not me. I said, not me. I said, because she was like, I'm not talking about you. I said, oh, yeah. Try. This is what I'm talking about now. I did like.
Just tell me which ones to do.
This
and we'll work
it out one. It's just this right here.
Well, I'm about to give her my time.
Oh, babe, I'm paying her. I ain't gonna.
I wrote your letter.
That's all I should do. Don't let nobody speak it. Yeah, don't let nobody know that I'm doing this. I mean, yeah, because people. That's why I went on and say, oh, she did your homework. I said, no. This page right here, page 25. I can give you my thing because you got to book. I'm going to write it down and give you my tablet.
Just take out the pages and you read.
You got the same book. Oh.
But you can write in your book.
I don't write in the book. I write in my tablet.
Oh, you're not in tablet?
Everything's on the tablet.
Yeah, get it? Get it?
Yeah, you know what to do. You know what to do. I did this. I did. I told you. Nope. I did 1 and 2. You'll see it. I'm working on. I'm gonna do 6. 14. I'm gonna do 6. So you'll have to do that one. Oh, you do this one? Yeah. I don't think I did that. I'm gonna do the. That was what page? 32. 32. Let's see if I did that one. I don't know. Oh, it's my turn. I already started right here. I'm gonna give you the pen too. You said page 30. 14 to 35. I started doing something. Yeah. But cause look, I'm gonna do this. Oh, you talking to myself. Oh, yeah. I didn't have that page. Oh yeah, no, you did. You did for him, but you didn't have to do it. It's not on your treatment plan. So I looked at your treatment plan. It's not on it. I did some shit. She ain't put it in me. She didn't put it on your treatment plan. She didn't put a lot of stuff on there. You just was doing it. I did the whole book. Yeah, you just was doing it. Cause she didn't put it on your treatment plan.
What? This is something you already did?
Yeah, but the ones that I didn't do right there, yeah, I didn't do them. She didn't give me no page numbers. Yeah, you didn't get no page numbers. Oh, she didn't even highlight anything. Yeah. Oh, she put it. When they start doing that? The Goodwill will help you get a resume. But I have no idea. When I see it, I was like, okay, I'll be now. As soon as I get the fuck up out of here, I'm going straight there. That's how we get from. I'm going with some glass, so they still have glass. Yeah, that's Kushima and Eva. Damn. Why she wrote all this? About that paragraph on the Oh, that's yours. Climb, complete Franklin House law. Let's put my probation office. Like we know we should just do this shit.
and keep over to Tsunami again.
Oh, you gotta keep. Oh my gosh, this is between me and you. Oh, I don't know. Why you gotta see it? I ain't said all right. Bitch, I ain't see it. Hold on. You go right here? Bitch, I ain't see it. Bitch, I didn't see it. I'm just saying I'll read it out loud. No, I'm saying when you just said it, I didn't see it. I never knew this was over. Yeah. That's your business. Oh, good fuck. Highlight it. I can't. You act like you got glasses on and you can see. No, I see. You know the big word. The big word. I see this right here. Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. Because I told her. Oh my dad. When I was little. No. He was the shooter. And he, what is it? I didn't read all that because there's too much fucking read. She wrote paragraph. Right here. Oh, okay. She wrote too much shit. Yeah, she did mine with real little detail. I didn't even notice that. Because you know I don't read this shit. I just. How you spell breathing? Breathing? BREATH-ING. Okay, that's all. I'm the only one that's eating these up. Awesome. Well, I'll be eating too. She wrote a lot on this shit. And I was mad as hell when I seen. That's how you know I didn't read it. I just scanned. Oh, look, they provide you this. They need to provide me this. That's okay. Hey, Sarah, do you have something else today? Not yet. Can you, do you? I did not see it. I don't know people stuff. I'm actually think they're gonna provide transportation to all your weekends. Oh my god, you're smacked. Okay. They're gonna provide transportation. Like, if you have a meeting, they'll come pick you up at 8:30.
What time are we going to meeting tonight?
Don't know.
What meeting? We're celebrating recovery? Do we have kitchen after lunch?
Yes. I have it with Teresa. We had it Sunday. What you doing to help out today too?
I don't know why.
You alive?
You said you did over here. I don't know why. It was just like the last day. You know what I'm saying? I don't know. I don't know why. Maybe too long, too much time. I don't know.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know, remarks or stuff. Huh?
No. Oh, you did. You had time with
Is somebody in the bubble?
First chapter. We
Well,
but you did have to. No, I did right here number 2. Working or there's only one branch you do.
Well, here's the time. Okay.
Alrighty then.
Alright, tax.
We are back. So I have the sign-in sheets for this class here at North Point. Please make sure that you turn in the sign-in sheets for South Point so that we can get those picked up. So everybody gets No, just the ones you already have. So I want to talk real quickly. There's a couple of things I'd like to get completed today. I don't know that we're going to have time. If we don't, we'll do it tomorrow morning. And then on Friday, we'll be completed with our look at emotions in early recovery. So what did we say was going on with this young lady here?
Anxiety.
She has a lot of anxiety. What does that mean?
Anxious about everything.
Nervous, anxious all the time, afraid, scared. Is that normal?
Yeah.
No.
It's normal for us to have those emotions, but not normal for us to have those emotions all the time. Not normal for us to be anxious all the time. What do we usually do when we have a lot of anxiety?
Worry.
We do worry a lot. And we go to our doctor, and what does our doctor do? Puts us on some type of medication, like right now, right? Right away. We're going to get some type of medication pretty quickly. Is that the best way to deal with it? I don't believe so, but sometimes there's no other way. Sometimes you have to have some type of drug, some type of chemical thing to help you get through that stuff.
Nothing else is working.
But there are some other things we can do. Now, anxiety is pretty tough. So here's the deal. Imagine that someone waved a magic wand and you no longer experienced any anxiety. How would that be?
Amazing.
Be amazing, be a miracle. So what would change about your life if somebody could do that?
You would
A lot. You would.
worry all the time.
If you don't have anything to worry about, you're just like.
You can
Yeah.
actually focus on things that matter. You know.
Yeah, that would be wild, wouldn't it? But would it be okay?
Yeah.
Well, we think, especially if we suffer from a lot of anxiety, we think that if all of that anxiety would go away, it was just completely gone, then it would be magnificent. It would be wonderful.
That's even you through your
But
day.
there's certain things you're supposed to worry about.
Yeah, what are the downsides of not having any anxiety in your life at all?
You can care less about, well,
You don't care about things that matter.
yeah.
Like
When I'm riding in the car with my wife driving, I'm pretty anxious.
I've been.
I can get anxious. When my kids are my kids just went on a trip that went way off somewhere. I forgot where they went. They went 2 or 3 other different countries. She sent me stuff back fairly regularly to show me that what they were doing and that they were still alive and that they were okay. And some of the places they went, I wasn't happy about, and it brought me a little bit of anxiety.
Worried about their well-being.
Yeah, worry about their well-being, worry about them making it all right and getting back and having plenty of money and all of this kind of stuff. But is it good to have a little bit of anxiety in your life?
Yes.
Sometimes it can be. Sometimes I need to know. I need to know that. When I hear people telling me that hey, they're going back to their family of origin, I get a little bit anxious about that because it's a good idea for you to go back there. Because that can trigger you to you. Is it a good idea for you to go back to the same place that you came from, do the same things that you did?
Not all the time.
Not all the time. There's always that outlier. So there may be somebody that's going to be all right for, but a lot of people lose their recovery because they've gone back to the same old people, places, and things. And so when people either poo-poo that idea or tell me that, look, they're going back and I can't stop them, or that's the only place they have to go, then, I get a little anxious for those folks. And I'm thinking that as they go into those situations, they perhaps a little anxiety on themselves should be, an okay kind of thing, right? Here's the deal: we don't need to have anxiety take over our life, right? We don't need to do that. What happens when I'm anxious all the time? When I get out of recovery, when I get out of treatment into some real on my own recovery, and I'm out there and I'm anxious all the time, what happens?
You're gonna resort back to what you were comfortable with.
Yeah. What do we normally do?
Turn to our drugs.
We normally do what we know how to do. And so if we do what we know how to do, because like if you're a hairdresser and you've been out of the business for a while, but you went back out and you have to do something, what are you going to do? You're going to go do what you know how to do. You're going to go be a hairdresser again, right? Or you're going to be a welder. Or you're going to be a whatever it was that you were before, because people normally do what people normally do, what we know how to do. That's what we do. So what do we know how to do? What do we know how to do to deal with anxiety? Yeah. We know, look, we're experts in drugs, and we're experts in our bodies, and we're experts in us. So we know what we can do to deal with all of the anxiety and the fear and the depression, all of that stuff. We can deal with that in just a moment's worth of stupidity, right? Yes. We can do that. So this is why we need to know that this is one emotion, just like this emotion of being lonely all the time. If we have this emotion, this anxiety, we need to be able to deal with that, because if we don't deal with anxiety, the anxiety is going to deal with us, right? So all of these emotions that we're looking at need to be under our control, because if they're not, what happens? We are under their control. Remember, when our emotions, which are supposed to be down here on a level where we can control them, when they get up here and are over our intellect, even though we know it's not the thing we ought to do, we may do it anyway, because our emotions are overriding our intellect. Remember the last time we got high? The last time we used? That was exactly what happened. Your desire to use enacted some type of emotion in you, anger, fear, whatever it was, and that emotion overrode your intellect because you knew you shouldn't do it. Right. I can't put this in my body. I have children to take care of. I can't put this in my body. I have a job. I can't put this in my body. This is bad for my health. I can't put this, but I'm anxious, I'm scared, all of that kind of stuff. So those emotions get over our intellect, and there we go. So here's the deal. Everybody experiences anxiety in a unique way. We experience the anxiety that comes into our lives in a unique way. We experience it our way, right? Mm-hmm. If there's a lot of anxiety, somebody just came in here and dropped an anxiety bomb, would everybody start crying? No. Yeah. Some people are going to get angry. Some people are going to want to fight. Some people are going to be begging. Some people are going to be crying. Some people are going to be running. Some people are going to be rolled up in a corner in a ball. We respond to that in different ways. There are healthy ways to respond to it. We'll talk about that a little bit. Physical symptoms are common. There are physical symptoms that happen to us when we get into a place of anxiety, and we can recognize those. And muscle tension. Anybody ever had tension headaches? Yeah. Neck aches? That's a lot of tension. What's another good word for tension or anxiety? What do we call it? Stress. And we have a lot of stress-related illnesses, and those stress-related illnesses are the same ones that anxiety causes, because anxiety is the first cousin of stress, right? And so if we're anxious all the time, then we're going to have ourselves under undue stress, and so we're going to be in some stuff. So we're going to have some stress headaches. We're going to have some muscle aches, some muscle tension. We're going to have upset stomach. Anybody here ever have? I have an upset stomach right now. I ate one of them things out there. I don't know what it is, but it don't taste good. It made me feel bad. So I'm probably not going to eat anymore. You know, it's making me some stuff. So, racing heart, sweaty palms. If physically we can tell that we are under anxiety, physically we can tell that something's not right. You know, I shouldn't be feeling like this. Something's not exactly right. So I shouldn't be feeling like that.
Racing
How about
thoughts.
say it again?
Racing thoughts.
Racing thoughts, that's exactly what I was about to say. Mental aspects. The mental aspects. Those are the physical things. Now we do have some mental things as well, like racing thoughts, ruminating.
What's that?
Ruminating. That means you're in the room and you're nating it. That does not mean that. Ruminating means I'm thinking it over and over and over and over. I'm just keeping it in my mind. I'm not letting it go.
And it makes things worse.
It makes it worse if I can't get rid of it. That's a real problem for me sometimes, you know. I mean, it just gets in there, we'll get out of there, and we need to do something about it. How about catastrophizing?
Yeah.
Y'all know what that is?
Yeah.
What's that?
It's when you either maximize everything as a big deal.
Yeah.
Or yeah.
Maximizing everything into a big deal. Nothing happens that's not a catastrophe. When I'm in the midst of anxiety, just whatever happens. You know, when I have seen people catastrophize. I've been in the office with another counselor, and the director called that person to the office. And they just catastrophize everything. I wonder what that's about. I wonder what's going to happen. I might be getting fired.
Angelina County's out.
It's catastrophe.
Yeah.
That just made you're just saying that maybe a little bubble in my stomach.
Can you also minimize catastrophizing, like blowing it off like it's not a big deal?
Well, yes, we do that a lot of the time, but that's minimizing, and that's the opposite of catastrophizing. Catastrophizing says it's a catastrophe. Whatever it is, it's a horrible, terrible, nasty catastrophe. You know, everything is horrible. Minimizing it says no, it's not. It doesn't mean anything. Yeah, it doesn't mean anything. So if it doesn't mean anything, then we'll throw it off somewhere when we shouldn't. You know, we should be paying attention to it anyway. So a lot of us do that. Here's some things. Since anxiety is wait a minute, I didn't want to look at that yet. Muscle stuff, catastrophizing. That's another feature of anxiety. So we always experience anxiety on a physical and a mental level. We're going to get it both places. We may not recognize it, but we're going to get it. So what do you do if you have all this anxiety in your life?
You
Go on vacation.
Go on vacation.
I think that's a really good point that she brought up over there. I think one of the things that we need to do if we're really anxious and stressed out and everything, we need to take a look at and think about the things that we're stressing out over.
Yeah.
Why am I so anxious? Take a good look at what I'm catastrophizing, because the nature of catastrophizing shows me that it's not a catastrophe.
Yeah.
You know, if you lose your job, is that a catastrophe?
No.
It's a big thing.
It's a big deal. I think it's a big deal, but it's not a catastrophe. It's not.
A catastrophe is if you don't do anything.
Yeah, it could be a catastrophe if you go home and say, well, I'm never going to get another job, and you just stay at the house and you just don't ever do anything else. You know, you could turn it into a catastrophe, but it's not a catastrophe. Well, and one of the big ones is relationships ending. Is that a catastrophe?
Sometimes you may feel like it is the moment.
Yeah, it feels like it right at that moment. Yeah, but usually it'll work out all right.
Mm-hmm.
You don't usually die
Yeah.
from somebody saying goodbye, right? You know, but we'll catastrophize things. The teacher called you up for a conference, Okay. That can be good. That can be bad. You don't know, but you get all freaked out on the way up there. That's catastrophizing. But so, since anxiety is an inevitable part of life, we will have some anxiety happen in our life, right? And they could be because of good things, because of bad things. New baby coming, good thing. New baby coming, it's a bad thing. It can be either one, yeah, because it's going to cause a little anxiety in your life one way or another. So, it's an inevitable part of life. We have to learn how to cope with it, right? So we need to learn how to cope with it. Some ways of doing this are healthy. And look, I know this is not always what people want to hear, but we need to start exercising. Everybody needs to exercise. Nobody exercises enough. Getting rid of anxiety in our life, exercise will help you do that. How does that work?
To get your mind off the
Releases stress.
She said it gets your mind off of it. That's true. What else?
Releases stress.
It releases stress. Okay.
It makes you where you don't have extra fat.
It makes you what?
What does that have to do with what was the question? Sorry, I just got out of order.
So you don't know what the question is, but you answered it
I thought it
anyway.
was what is exercise?
That's it. What does exercise do?
Makes you where you don't lose. Makes you where you lose extra fat.
All right, that's to get you some fat off of you, and that's a good thing. We need to do that. But the big thing that I was looking for, and I've taught this 18 times in this class, and nobody quite got it yet. When you exercise, it releases dopamine into your brain, and it gives you a mild high because it is a normal drug. So it makes you feel a little bit. I'm anxious. Maybe I'm a little bit of a victim right now. Maybe I've got some of this going on. But when I exercise, it makes me feel better about who? Myself. You're going to feel good about yourself because you have accomplished something. Something. Exercising. Here's the other one. Spending time with other people. That's going to help you with your anxiety if you get around other people who are what?
Not anxious.
Not anxious, yeah. Not a whole bunch of scared people, but also people who are positive and sober. Yeah. You don't want to go down to the drunk tank, and go down to Bubba's bar if you're anxious, right? Because that's going to make you more so. So spend time with those folks. Meditating. Is meditating evil? No. I've had people tell me that meditating is evil. I think that it is according to what you meditate on.
Yeah.
Right? The Bible tells you to meditate on the Word of God. So we can meditate on things. Others are unhealthy. We do a lot of unhealthy things to get ourselves out of the place where anxiety has us by the hair. And one of those things, of course, is using drugs or alcohol. Right? That's an unhealthy way to get away from stress or anxiety or anything like that. Or just withdrawing from the world. Have you ever seen anybody just completely withdraw? Yeah. Some people have just completely withdrawn. I've done a little bit of that in my past. But withdrawing from the world is not something you can do, not successfully. We need to stay engaged. So some of those things are good for us to do, and some of them are not good for us to do. One thing that I always tell people is, look, with any of these things, exercise is the simplest thing in the world to do. It'll make you feel better about yourself, and you don't have to go out there and kill yourself, but just go and do some exercise, go walking around the building a few times, something, and that'll make you feel a little bit better about yourself because you have accomplished something that day. The dopamines are being released, and so they're doing their job. Now here we need to know this, that there's no shortage whatsoever of things to worry about, right? Howdy, ma'am.
Hi.
No shortage whatsoever of things to worry about. Some people get anxious about family. They get anxious about relationship issues, right? Others worry a lot about their appearance. right? That's why we can sell $3 billion worth of makeup every year. $3 billion worth, and another $1 billion worth of mirrors. People like to look at themselves and like to do things. So they also have worries about their health. If I feel bad, what do I do?
Self-medicate.
Do what?
You self-medicate when you feel bad?
I don't self-medicate. I go to my doctor right now.
To say, hey.
Yeah, if I feel bad, I'll go to the. I had the shingles back a few months ago. That's horrible. That ain't good at all. That's terrible. But my doctor said, Dr. Garner, because you're who you are and something hurts, you come right down here, you called it early. And she gave me some medication and I was over it in about 5 to 6 days. It was gone. But if you don't, it can do some horrible, terrible, nasty things to you. But I get a little anxious about some of that stuff, and so I go get it checked out if I'm anxious. A lot of people get really, really anxious about their finances.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, we need to have a little bit of money, right? Yeah, so we can get real anxious about our finances. How do we deal with that?
Get a job.
Get a job. Yeah, get a job. Yeah, get one, preferably where they pay you on every now and then. Yeah.
Sounds good, right?
Yeah, we can get anxious about things we can't really do a whole lot about. Stuff like politics, or world events, stuff like that. We get a little bit anxious about that kind of stuff, right?
We have no control.
Right? We don't have a whole lot of control over that. We do have. Look, y'all want to sign in to here. One of these says HHSC on it. One of it says TAP. So.
Tap. Here, let me show you.
So, world events are also common sources of anxiety. People are worried about what's happening in the world. People are worried about what's happening in their country and stuff like that. So, what can you do about that? Well, there's some, you can vote.
Oh, yeah.
You can vote. You can speak up. You can do things like Dr. King, speak up, say something, do something. We can, and that may be helpful to our anxiety, but sometimes the things that we do will also cause us some anxiety, right? So there's a whole lot of common things that are going out there that's bothering us, and so we need to know that all of those things can cause anxiety. But a lot of the times, there's not a whole lot we can do about that. So here's the deal. Your mindset about anxiety determines how it affects you. Remember, we went from belief system, thinking, to actions. We know about that. But what does my mindset mean?
Where your mind is at.
You think about
Where your mind is at? Where we set your mind?
The way you think.
The way you think. What you're thinking about. That affects what your mindset about how anxiety determines how it affects you. If you see anxiety as a chance to learn, how many people see anxiety as a chance to learn? I do a little bit because y'all know that I'm not the greatest with the computeration machine, but a couple of months back down the road there, our big boss met me outside and he said, "Hey, look, Doc, I'm going to tell you what we're going to do. We're going to start and we're going to put it on camera. And you're going to have to." Okay, at that moment, I knew this man is speaking Greek. I don't have any idea what he's talking about. I don't know how to do all of that kind of stuff. And there was a little anxiety there that came up, and I went and talked to my immediate supervisor. And she said, don't worry about it. We'll get it all figured out. We'll get it all fixed and all of that kind of stuff. Well, did that take all the anxiety away?
Maybe some.
It did take some of it away. I think, okay, I feel a little bit better about that. But I need to learn this stuff myself. So far, I've taken one course that was very basic in the computeration world because it was so basic. It said, this is a computer. There's a button here that you push to turn it on. Yeah. And now I'm in an intermediate one where I'm not really learning, but I'm seeing some of that stuff. So I did use the anxiety that I had over that to cause me to get some to make it a learning experience, and that's helped me. So that first one, that basic thing, that was really good. There's some stuff on there that I had never even thought about. Been fooling with those things for years. But that gave me some stuff, took away a lot of the anxiety, and that's going to go away. So if you see anxiety as a chance to learn and to grow, it can become a positive force in your life. Every time your anxiety hits, then you can say, well, okay, I'm going to look at this. I'm going to research this. I'm going to examine this and see if I can get something good out of it. How can this propel me toward my career a little better? How can this propel me toward just having a better spot in life? How can this propel me beyond this anxiety? Once I get to the place where I know as much about the computers as I want to know, then there won't be any anxiety about it at all. Still, every time I hook it up, and I got it kind of figured out now, but every time I punch it in, I wait a little anxious to see if it's actually going to work. Because there for a while it wasn't. I kind of figured it out now, and I know what I got to do, and every time it works, and that's a big deal. So a lot of that anxiety is gone. I have it all written down here, but I don't need to use that anymore. So the anxiety level is dropping, right? And so that can happen with everything that's in our lives. And is it important? Why is it important to drop that anxiety level?
To get rid of fear.
Say it again?
To get rid of fear.
To get that fear out of our lives. That's a really good idea too. But what's the most important stuff for us is that.
They don't relapse.
So we don't relapse. I ain't going to relapse. If I'm out there, there's going to be a little. What do you think the biggest reason for relapse when people leave the prison system?
Anxiety, stress.
Anxiety, stress, getting out. Getting out, it causes high levels of anxiety and high levels of stress. Because now I've been in 5 years, I've been in 10 years, and now I'm out here and I can just go down to the store and I can get whatever I want. And that causes high stress and high anxiety, and a lot of people we lose because they got to that place. So it can be a positive force. On the other hand, if you see anxiety as only a burden, only something bad, only negative, it's more likely you're going to have a negative impact on you. Remember we talked about positive self-talk and negative self-talk? If we walk around with that negative, I can't know if I can stand this anxiety thing. I'm just scared all the time. I'm never going to be able. Look, that all of those things you're saying to yourself are going to become true. So instead, I'm going to use positive self-talk. Okay, this anxiety is here. I know it. I recognize it. I see it. But it's going to work for my good. We're going to learn something from this. This is going to become an asset instead of something that's hurting me. So we need to have the positive self-talk going on, and it's going to help us. So if we only see it as negative, then it's going to have a negative impact. We don't need it to have a negative impact, so we're going to be talking about how the positive impact is going to be. So here's the deal. Big life decisions can cause a lot of anxiety. So if we have a lot of big life decisions going on, what's one big life decisions that everybody in this room just made not too long ago?
To get sober.
To get sober. To get into recovery, which is different than getting sober. Getting sober means I stop drinking, Getting sober means I stop using today, right? Getting into recovery means I'm changing my life. I'm changing my life. I'm going to be in a recovery lifestyle now. And that's much, much more than getting sober, right?
Yeah.
Right, it is. I mean, I'm going to have to change everything. If I'm going to stay in a recovery lifestyle, I'm going to have to change people, places, things. I'm going to have to change my diet. I'm going to have to change whether or not I exercise. I'm going to have to change everything.
Mindset.
A mindset. I got to change everything. Right? If I'm going to stay in there. So that's a big, big life decision. Causes a lot of anxiety. Can do that. We'll be afraid of making a mistake. Anybody afraid of making a mistake?
Yeah.
Have you ever made a mistake?
Yeah.
You got the idea you might make another one. Yeah, one or two or three. You know, you see that kid when he's 3 years old stuck that Crayola up his nose.
That's not funny.
It ain't funny.
You done?
It's not funny. He went and had to have that thing doctorally removed from his nose. Is that the last mistake that boy ever gonna make? No.
That's from the beginning.
No.
My son put a BB in his ear.
Your son
From
put.
the bee bags.
Yeah.
We went to the emergency room, then we had to go to an ear specialist, and he knew he put it in there. He had to have already got to it when he was sleeping. I guess.
No, he knew he was.
He knew what he was
Guys do that. You know, we put stuff in our noses and things like that. So big decision causes a lot of them. You're afraid of making mistakes when that's going on.
Yeah.
We can get overwhelmed by other people's advice. Are you receptive of people's advice?
I try to be.
Well, I will listen to your advice, but I'm going to make sure that advice fits me the way that I need it to fit me, because some people can give you some real garbage advice. That's why counselors don't give advice. We'll give direction sometimes. We don't give you any advice. That's not a good plan. So, excuse me. So those big things can bother us a whole lot. We can get overwhelmed by other people's advice, unsure of what we really want in our lives. Now think about that. We just made a great big old life change, and are we really sure that's what we want in our lives? Do we really want recovery? Do we really want to stay sober for the rest of our lives?
That sounds long.
Sound like a long time.
4 letters. Just
Long time. Y'all gonna live forever and ever. It's gonna take a long time. That's why we talk about doing it one day at a time.
Exactly. You can manage one day at a time and hear, oh gosh, it's the rest of my life.
Right. I do this one day at a time, and that's one of the things that we use to bring some of that anxiety down.
You can't do 2 days at a time.
Say that again?
You can't do 2 days at a time.
No.
Monday and Tuesday.
You don't need to get overwhelmed.
She said you cannot do 2 days at a time. She's right. I don't ever try. Sometimes I do an hour at a time.
Right.
Can't skip Monday and go to Tuesday.
Yep. All right. It's common. Those things are going to do us. Anxiety is going to affect your decision making. It can affect all sorts of things. It's common to avoid what you're anxious about. Is that a good plan?
Depending on bad anxiety. Good.
Well, here's the deal. If I avoid what I'm anxious about, what happens?
You're not anxious.
You don't deal with it.
Yeah, you're not dealing with it. You just.
Yeah, you're not dealing with whatever it is that's causing, and you need to. Just like anger is that underlying thing. We need to, whatever we're anxious about, let's deal with that underlying thing, get that out of there, and then maybe we won't have to be. Sometimes when we're avoiding it, this might take the form of retreating from anxiety-provoking situations. Sometimes that may be okay if I'm going to go over here and I know that my mother-in-law is going to be there.
Run.
That's going to cause me a lot of anxiety.
Don't go.
Is that going to cause you anxiety if your mother-in-law's over there? If it is, it might be. If it is, it might be a good idea not to go over there. not today, but work on the relationship and then fix that. But also, it can cause us to delay some decisions.
Mhm.
And it can cause us to repress some emotions. And so we need to figure out how to deal with that so that we don't have to use avoidance. Avoidance sometimes is a good thing, but not all the time, and not most of the time. So we need to use avoidance like we use castor oil. Y'all remember castor oil?
Yes.
The little bottle of that.
And your
It's
pet
like-
has
it's
They
like-
asked me to drink a whole bottle of that.
Swallow it.
Its flavor, it did not work, and it just tasted.
It doesn't
And it
work.
tastes terrible. It's horrible.
Yeah.
So we use avoidance just like we use castor oil. How do we use castor oil?
You drink it.
Just a little bit, and just every now and then. You don't want to be doing that every day. You don't want to get up every day and say, "Oh, man, some castor oil." You don't want to do that. So just a little bit, and every now and then. So we don't want to be avoiding things that we can fix.
They used to knock
We don't
out
want to be avoiding things that we can work through. So look, anxiety can reveal what matters most to a person. This is important about anxiety. For example, someone who worries a lot about illness really probably values good health. Someone who stresses over finances probably wants security in their finances.
That's me too.
My wife really likes to have security in her finances, right? So she sent me back to work. Someone who stresses over any particular thing, whatever that thing is, then they have some issues in that area that they're really concerned about. That make sense?
Yeah.
So what do? What should they do?
Well, they should focus on those things and try to fix those things.
Yeah, make sure they go to that situation. Don't avoid it, whatever that situation is, and take a look at it. Take a really good look at your finances, see where they are, what they need to be, and see what you can do, and then do that. Take a really good look at your relationships, see where they are. First off, you know where they are, and then you need to see where they need to be, and then do that. Right?
Yes, sir.
And that's real simplistic in the way that we're putting it out, but that's just true, isn't it?
Yeah.
We need to deal with whatever we need to deal with. And so here's the deal. Those things that matter to us most are going to cause us the most anxiety. The things that cause us the most anxiety are the things we need to deal with first, right?
Yeah.
It's important for us to know about, what is this?
Loneliness.
Loneliness. It's important for us to know about loneliness because if I'm lonely, that's going to lead me to be a victim, which is going to lead me where? Relapse. Then we have anxiety. Anxiety is going to lead me to a place of fear most of the time, right? We said that 3 or 4 times. So anxiety will lead me to fear. And then fear is going to lead me where? To relapse, right? So this one is anger. And where is anger going to lead me? It will, but there's an emotion between there. Anger will lead me to
Loneliness?
Fear.
That's a good one. That's a good question. But it will. All of these are going to lead us to relapse. Right? This is why it's important to know these things. This is why it's important to study these things and look at these things, see where they may be in our life. All of us are going to be lonely from time to time. Right? We found that out. We figured that out. We're all going to be lonely from time to time. We're all going to be anxious from time to time. And we're even all going to be angry from time to time.
Yeah.
Can we control them?
Yeah.
Yeah.
How?
No, you
I
can't control
minimize
if you
Well, stress.
cope the skills of it.
Use good coping skills. That's good. Look, here's the deal. Anger is that secondary emotion. Remember, we talked about that earlier in the week. Anger is a secondary emotion, rides in on a primary emotion. So you can't go from who you are to anger. Can't do it. Can't do it. So if you have an anger issue, then you need to know that you can control that because you have the choice whether or not you're going to be angry. Just don't. You know, you have that choice. And so every time that you've ever been angry, why were you angry? I can tell you the reason you got angry every time.
Because you allowed something to make you angry.
Yeah. You gave it power.
That's kind of right, but see, the word "make you angry" that nobody can make you angry.
Something out of your control.
To cause you to
What
be
is
angry.
it?
Something out of your control.
It's not out of your control.
No.
No, it's in your control. That's the whole point. You were angry the last time you were angry, and every time before that because you wanted to be.
Yeah.
You just wanted to be angry. That's what you're using. That's what you're using as a coping mechanism.
Yes.
Your anger. And then you use it as a really good excuse. If you get angry, I'll use because I'm angry. I'll do what I want to do. And I'm yelling and screaming at you because, hey, I'm angry and I cannot control my own emotions. Yes, you can.
Anger is a defense mechanism.
Say that again?
It's a defense mechanism.
And it is. A lot of time it's a defense mechanism. Because if I get angry, people want to avoid me, get back away from me, and leave me alone. So I can use it as a defense mechanism.
The victim stance.
But here's the thing we need to know. We need to understand anger. Anger is a normal emotion. Sometimes we use it abnormally, but it is a secondary emotion, so we can control our own emotion. We can control that. Now, there are things that, we might need a little bit of therapy over, we might need a little bit of medication over, but when it comes to the use of anger as a tool to do whatever we want to do, we can control that. So, questions, comments, or snide remarks? Nothing? Yes, ma'am? You just stretching? You got something? Yes, ma'am?
I'll just share with you after that.
You just...
I'll share
what?
it with you. I'll share it with you.
Oh, goodness, I'm in trouble now. All right, well, tomorrow, look, very quickly, we've already gone over boundaries at one point, but I want to touch on boundaries again for tomorrow. I was going to do it today, but I got too talkative. And so tomorrow, we're going to go over boundaries and a couple of more emotions that we need to deal with while we're in early recovery. Okay? Ma'am, thank you. I appreciate that. Look, I appreciate you guys. You did really, really well today. You paid attention and some took some notes and stuff like that, and I appreciate that. Thank you.
And nobody slept today.
Nobody went to sleep. And at one point, I was almost ready to nod off, but I was able to get myself back, so nobody went to sleep today, and I appreciate it. So I will see you tomorrow. South guys, I'm going to come over in a minute to get your sign-in sheets. Thank you for being attentive. I can see you through this camera, and y'all